In the last year, in Meditative Tefillah Part 1, we did a meditation. And we understood that through meditation, a person can draw closer to Hashem and feel more connected. Then we went ahead and we showed how the words of Davening and the Tefillos from Bרכת all the way to Shemona Esrei was part of that guided meditation in the example that we gave. Today I'd like to give another meditation to bring out another idea in Tefillah and to show you something fascinating about our davening. So bear with me for a moment and let's do this together. Wherever you are, grab onto something. Whether it be, in my case, the desk in front of me or wherever it might be for you, grab onto something and close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you're standing in a forest. And in that forest, it's pitch black and it starts to rain. And you're all alone. Suddenly, the rain begins to pour. It's pouring rain. Thunder and lightning, and it's starting to get pretty scary. Then, you start to hear growling and sounds of animals. And you realize that the only thing that's keeping you safe is the very thing that you're holding on to. And you begin to hold on to it just a little tighter. And as you hear the growling and the sounds of the animals getting closer and closer, you realize that truly the only thing that's keeping you safe is the very thing that you're holding on to. And if you were to let go, then all is lost. And you start to feel that the very thing that you're holding on to is slipping away, is starting to pull away from you. Grab onto that thing tighter. Hold on to it for dear life, because if you let go, then all the things that surround you, the rain and the thunder and the lightning is getting stronger and stronger. The growling is getting more and more powerful and severe. You're grabbing and grabbing, and you start to become distance from the thing that you're holding on to, and you're barely able to hold on to it. Grab tight. And then imagine for a moment you start to loosen your grip and it falls away from you and it's just out of reach, and you're reaching and reaching and reaching as far as you can to try to grab onto that thing that's keeping you safe, and the animals are running towards you and you're reaching. Now imagine for a moment a person wanted to feel a sense of yearning in his tefillah, a feeling that I need Hashem. And without Hashem, I'm lost. A person can take that meditation that we just did, and all he has to do is one physical action. Just simply go like this with his hand, reaching for something, and he'll remember that entire scene of all is lost, if not for the fact that I can grab onto home base. Hashem is my home base, and I'm trying to grab. And if a person in the middle of davening, if he wants to have chizuk in his davening, his strength, he just has to do that one physical action. And it's not the physical action of going like this, grabbing onto something, trying to reach for something. It's what it represents. It represents that meditation of trying to feel a feeling of yearning for closeness to Hashem, for yearning for that desperation of safety. And where did I get that idea from? Once again, that idea is not my idea. If you ever look at davening, you know, sometimes when you grow up in something and you always do something, you just accept it as normal. But if anyone were to ever look at davening at a minyan from the outside, they were to see some very unusual things. You know, people taking steps back and forth, people with their feet together, bouncing up and down on their toes, going like this and shuckling and swaying back and forth, bowing, slamming their hearts with their hands, collapsing on their hands with their arms. You ever wonder, did it ever strike you as strange as to why we do those things? Well, what I'd like to share with you today is those things are not random. They're also guided meditations. Like the same one I just made up. I just made up one of my own. But Chazal put physical actions in order to trigger guided meditations. When we take 3 steps back, We prepare ourselves to walk into the white light, like we mentioned in the last year, to feel connected to Hashem. We're about to walk in to the world of Atzilus, to the world of closeness and nearness to Hashem, where we truly don't belong, but we're allowed to be there. What an honor, where it actually, Chazal felt that we needed to do a physical thing, taking 3 steps forward to recognize where we're walking into. There's nothing holy about taking 3 steps. It's created to make a guided meditation so you can recognize by doing a physical action. The same way I went like this is yearning to me. Taking 3 steps forward is walking into that white light, connecting to Hashem. When we have our feet together, we are like the angels standing before God, pronouncing and hopping up on one leg like the angels, Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzivakos, like they do in their Kedusha. When we shackle, the Zohar HaKadosh says is that we have to see our neshama as a light. It is considered a ner, and when we're davening and we're standing before Hashem, that light is trembling, that light is swaying back and forth in excitement and standing before Hashem. Chafetz Chaim says that in Shmona Esrei, a person should have his hands together like this, in order so that he should feel bound before God, trembling before His awesomeness. When a person bows, he bends his knees, lowering himself before God, collapses himself forward, and then stands up straight before he says the name of Hashem that is meant to keep him upright. When he slams onto his heart, he remembers that his heart caused him to sin and he needs to make right. And he needs to think about that and recognize that he needs to fix the aspects of his heart and direct it properly. And finally, he collapses on his hand in utter shame, the recognition that he has sinned. All these physical actions that Chazal created, just like we mentioned in the last year, that the guided meditation Chazal gave us to make us feel closer to Hashem, from Baruch Hu, Berachos Kriya Shema, and Shmona Esrei, Chazal also gave us physical actions in order to trigger a deep guided meditation to allow ourselves to feel more connected to Hashem in our tefillah.